The next step is lopsiding. Lopsiding means to do more of what everyone tells you to do less of. And by the way, flaunting overrides this whole thing, right? Flaunting is a part of every single one of those things. But flaunting is about doing more of what everyone else is trying to do less of. Good is not doing very much of this. Good is doing it this way. Lopsiding is going in the other direction and doing more of what conventional wisdom, successful companies aren't doing. You say, oh, we're going to do more of that even though they're doing less. A great example of that in the U.S. is the drive towards healthy foods. I'm sure that's a somewhat worldwide thing. And so, for example, in the world now, there are more Subway sandwich restaurants than there are McDonald's. McDonald's had like a 50-year head start, but now there's more Subway, more healthy food, fast food options, or at least healthier food options, than there are McDonald's in the world. So it's easy to say, okay, if I'm going to open a restaurant, people want healthy food. There was a documentary that came out a few years ago, actually like 10 years ago now, called Super Size Me, and a guy ate McDonald's every single day, 3 times a day, for 30 days. Only ate McDonald's and had doctors monitor his health the whole time. It's a surprise ending. I don't want to ruin it for you. Fast food isn't good for you. That's what we found out, and it was a revelation that we really weren't aware of prior to that. It was really helpful to find out this magical scientific news. Fast food isn't bad for you. And when that movie came out, McDonald's and other fast food restaurants started offering salads and fruit and water and yogurt, right? And they were apologetic about what they had done wrong. They started trying to offer more healthy options because that's what success looks like. And in America, we have another restaurant called Hardee's. They sell burgers, fries, and shakes, and Hardee's was going out of business. Hardee's couldn't attract customers. Hardee's was undifferentiated. And when McDonald's started offering healthier foods, Hardee's had a decision to make. Do we start offering healthy foods or do we move in a different direction? And we'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about lopsided again for a second, right? You don't want to be lopsided, right? Nobody talks about being lopsided. What do we talk about? Being well-balanced and well-rounded, right? Being the right amount of everything. And we kind of talked against that a little bit yesterday. I had a little trouble being lopsided. When I was a kid, I grew up poor. Does anybody, I can kind of see people. Did anybody grow up poor? Raise your hand if you think you grew up poor. Now, here's one of the ways you know if you grew up poor. Sometimes people think they were poor, they weren't poor. One of the ways you know if you're poor is who cuts your hair. Who cuts your hair? If your hair gets cut outside of your home by a professional, you are not poor. You are poor when your hair gets cut at home by someone with no training, using tools that were not designed for cutting hair. You're too poor to go to the store and even get like the clippers, right? Get the electric clippers. Your mom just grabs things with sharpness and goes after you, right? So my mom, I think she used sewing scissors or shears for sheep. I don't know what she used, but she just would go at it. And what she would do is she'd get my hair wet, comb it straight down, cut it straight across. Now the problem is, and I don't know the word for it around here, but I had a colic. A colic means your hair sticks straight up in the air. So when it was wet and combed down and she cut it across, it looked fine for about 3 minutes, and then the one side started slowly going up until it was gone, which meant that half of my forehead was completely covered in hair, and the other half was completely empty. Now again, just like yesterday with the bathroom story, sometimes people think I exaggerate, so I've brought pictures. So here's me when I was very little, and obviously I'm cute and adorable and amazing there, and so you're like, hey, it's not so bad. I did start my life, though. A colic makes you look like you have male pattern baldness, right? You're born right away, and one side of your head is just immediately starting to recede, okay? So you're thinking, hey, Dave, you were little there, and maybe your mom started getting better. Practice makes perfect. We've all been taught practice makes perfect, but it doesn't. Now we not only have more full coverage over here while still emptiness over here, we also have a little jagged edge. Now my jacket game is very strong. I believe that collar tucked into my pants. I believe it went all the way down and actually tucked into my belt. So some of you are jealous, try to keep it together. Now you're thinking, okay, but you're still young there, Dave. This isn't hurting you with the ladies or anything. I'm sure your mom figured it out. People learn, people grow, people change, but they don't. And now we've added buck teeth, right? Now we've added buck teeth to really help with the ladies. And now we have complete coverage all the way down to the eyebrows, completely open over here, right? So why would you want to be lopsided, right? Why would you want to be lopsided? So how many of you have ever seen How many of you ever seen a Successories poster? How many of you ever seen a Successories poster? All of you can raise your hand because this is a Successories poster. Okay, so Successories posters are these posters with these positive messages and some kind of beautiful picture. This one says, "Believe and succeed. Courage does not always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, 'I will try again tomorrow.'" Right? You don't have to do anything that David taught you. All you have to do is buy Successories posters, hang them up, and people's happiness and motivation will just go up. That's how Successories works. You just put it on the wall, everything improves. Right? So Successories is successful because people want to see motivating, inspiring, positive messages at home, in their offices, and in their workplace. But everybody isn't into that. Everybody isn't into that. Sometimes people are a little more cynical. They might be a little more negative. And there's a website for people like that. It's not called successories.com. It's called despair.com, right? And if you go to despair.com, it's 100% real. On despair.com, they sell posters with pictures and messages, right? Here's my favorite. It's actually called Despair. And it says, "It's always darkest just before it goes pitch black." It's not always darkest just before the dawn. It's always darkest just before lights go out. This is fantastic, right? Some of you are already trying to buy some. And that's the thing, right? We think positivity, motivation, that seems good. It's called positivity. That seems positive. But there's a market for the other side. There's a market for not offering that. There's a market for being negative. There's a market for being lopsided. Not having something for everybody, but moving towards a group that's different than everybody else. So let's get back to Hardee's. So Hardee's has a decision to make. What do? They've got unhealthy food. The world wants healthy food. All the companies in their target market and in their industry are going towards healthy food. What did they do? Well, instead of offering fruit and yogurt and salad and waters, Hardee's created something called the Thick Burger. This is one example of the Thick Burger. This is called the All-American Thick Burger, America. This has an entire hot dog on top. Okay. This is almost 1 full pound of beef. And they put the potato chips on there to save you the extra trouble of reaching down and feeding yourself. You shouldn't be bothered. This sandwich contains enough calories to last you for about a month and a half, right? So you can just eat this and go on a wilderness expedition. What happened to Hardee's? They were going out of business. They were struggling. They were failing. Everyone went healthy. The obvious decision seemed to be balance it out. Offer more healthy options. Don't be so lopsided. What they said is, you know what? We've offered healthy food. We're about to make it unhealthier. We've offered food that's bad for you, and we're about to make it worse. They made it worse, and their profits went up. Their store closings went down. Their store openings went up. Their revenues went up. Everything got better when they committed to something that everyone else was afraid to commit to because they wanted to be well-balanced and well-rounded. They wanted to do the right thing, the good thing, the thing that everybody wants. Hardee's found out everybody doesn't want it. You might say, okay, they created the Thick Burger, and they're always creating a new kind and a new style, and they've been doing this for years now, and it's been so successful, they've moved on to breakfast. So their newest is the Apocalypse. Right? I didn't know if that would translate, but it does. I like that, right? The Apocalypse. Now, why is it the Apocalypse? It's got the entire pig. It's got bacon, ham, and sausage. And this is what I love about it. It comes on a biscuit or on a tortilla, right? Do they have that in a wrap? Could I get that in a wrap? I'm trying to watch my carbs, so if I could get that, is it in a wrap? Is there a way? Some sort of watching my figure? It's in a wrap. Okay, because I don't want all the biscuit. Hardee's does something else that's interesting. They use a black background for their advertisements because they're trying to give you a hint about what's happening inside your body, right? They are predicting your imminent demise. You are about to die. Conventional wisdom in all of advertising, but especially food advertising says you cannot have a black background. That is not something that people find appetizing. Hardee's continues to push the boundaries. They continue to go farther in a direction that not only is no one going, most businesses are rapidly moving in the opposite direction. One of Hardee's phrases that they use to advertise their products is eat like you mean it. Right? Where are my Irish friends, right? We got some Irish folks in the crowd, right? In America, we have a t-shirt for St. Patty's Day. People wear it. It's a green shirt. And on St. Patty's Day, it says, "My liver has been bad and deserves to be punished," right? That's what Hardee's is doing, right? They're like, eat like you mean it, damage your insides, harm yourself, right? It's a terrible message, and it works. And it works. Lopsiding. Now let's go back to McDonald's because this happened right before we published the book. Absolutely fascinating. Right before we published the book, McDonald's came out with an announcement. McDonald's had unhealthy food. They started making it healthier. Hardee's made theirs unhealthier. McDonald's tried to offer a balance, fruit, yogurt, salad, still the Big Macs, but fruit, yogurt, salad, water. Okay. And over the course of 10 years since Super Size Me came out, how much fruit, yogurt, salad, water were McDonald's customers buying? And the answer is not very much. Nobody was purchasing the healthier items. News alert, nobody goes to McDonald's to eat healthy. Again, surprising, I know. Try to rein it in. Maybe write a note to remind yourself. They were offering healthy options to people who weren't looking for healthy options. So you know what McDonald's just did at the end of 2017? They eliminated most of the healthy options from their menu because nobody was buying them. They were offering them and nobody wanted them. And not only that, but go back to the apocalypse. McDonald's just offered something now called the triple stacker, where it's basically a reproduction of what Hardee's is doing. Now McDonald's is chasing Hardee's when Hardee's was losing to begin with. Then they won by lopsiding, and McDonald's was well-balanced and well-rounded. So that's why I love this, because some people think, well, I think you can still win with well-balanced and well-rounded. One of the biggest companies on earth who was going well-balanced and well-rounded realized it wasn't working, and now they're going back to being lopsided like they were to begin with. McDonald's exists for a reason, and people go for that reason, and you can't change people's behavior just by saying, here's something else, you'll like it. No, I won't. I want a Big Mac.